And welcome to round 3 of the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup in 2023. We are here, of course, at the Pratama Mandalika Street Circuit in Indonesia, Lombok. Air temperature 32 degrees. It's been last time out in Japan, and just as they will do in Thailand. From them pictures, it continues to be of the future from this play.
Well, here's hoping I think we're in for a hell of a show here today.
We certainly are. Turf, of course, as well, the Indonesian rider, and I can confirm 2 seconds quicker than into what we've seen so far this weekend. Looks like the others are going to have a very, very difficult job of trying to beat the number 7 on your screens there, who is, of course, as well, your not world championship.
To stop him today. But there is some very good riders out there.
A very experienced rider, as you rightly say, Chris, in this season as one of the title favourites, and he obviously didn't help his cause, but the fact
Pratama got the little fan in the face, and it is very hot out there. Williams kicked off his season before he got...
Unfortunately, as we say,
got for that blot on the out there, the number 9. Keep an eye on him because he's had a pretty decent season so far. Race winner in the season opener, followed by a podium and a P6. Shinya Azawa and Eamon Odaki on the front row, mixed up a little bit in some...
I think we're going to get exactly that, as we always do. Good madness, of course, in the Asia Talent Cup. Confirmation, 32 degrees air temperature, and here's confirmation of your championship standings. Down in 4th place, and Pratama 50 points down in 5th place. So a lot of catching up to do already. We've only had 4 races, and Pratama lights to come on, and the top right of your screens, race 1, the lights do come on, and they go out, and it's a good start. What a launch from the number 7, the number 21 of Zara. That's
for Pratama coming through the opening corners. They can all set their sights on 14. Will there be Wara up the 5th at the expense of Zen?
But Adaki, that's close, coming down into turn 13. Adaki's going to shove it up the inside of Pratama, but Pratama hangs it around the outside to keep the race lead. So Adaki doing all he can on the number.
For him, as we come across the left-hander here with Odaki already looking for another move up the inside. He's going to want to chop and change with him as much as possible and bring some of these other riders into it to get
shot and lead the race early doors to try and get into his ribbon, and that's what he's trying to do. But Adaki's doing all he can through this on the MotoGP calendar, and of course on the Asia Talent Cup calendar, and then the fast left-hander at 8 before the kink at 9 before this turn 10. A popular passage, get the inside line for turn 12. Adaki's fight straight back on the number 14. No, not quite this.
Yeah, super stuff from Pratama. Any question? Pratama and Odaki.
Fastest laps of the race.
Crash from Ogiwara, and that's cost him.
Well, another second, behind number 7. We haven't been able to see any of second, but as we're saying this, Odaki looks like...
is heating up just behind these two. Zen Matani.
At the minute, it's going to be a podium fight for the final place on the podium. 10.5 lap with Fadir, Pratama and Hafai in it as well. Really good stuff from Odaki, because I think pretty much everyone judging over the rest of the field across a weekend. So for the number 14 of Odaki, the Japanese rider, to be doing this...
Yeah, dead right. Over, perhaps lining something up for a little bit later. Inside of Pratama, is he going to get something here? Not quite. Pratama fights back and has the inside line around the right-hander.
Again later on. Back at the front. When they cross the line, it will be 9 laps to go. So plenty left here in race 1 in the Asia Talent Cup. And the number 14 of Odaki is still 6, 7, and then the kink of 8, the left-hander, and then...
Reminder that he is not going anywhere as we breaks, as we see Pratama put the leg to sing for number 1 and 2. Odaki.
Well, what happened is down at turn 11, and he thought he had done it. He kept it on the straight and narrow, but unfortunately, when the riders got on the gas, they chose the same line, or they came together on the same line, unfortunately, and the number 14 of Odaki went down. Thankfully, he was up on his feet and all okay, because it was a pretty scary incident. Potential race-winning place on hope. Plenty of the same mechanics, but this
7 laps as we cross the line.
Chip standings, the gap from Pratama, they expect that to change throughout the next few laps.
Seconds, in fact, and trailing Ramadahipa, the wild card, in 8th position. So it's a big learning experience for Takahiro, the rookie, who's going to make a move, but he might just hold on.
That was turn 16, the hairpin, and then they back on Odaki. 6 broken clear for Delia and Pratama so far. Nicholas just in behind as well, but what in the hard braking zone at turns corner by corner, and that's exactly what is happening.
These two for victory. Over screen, will he line up a move? We didn't really predict.
Behind the ball, get on the power as early as possible for the final place on the podium. And just like that, we'll be coming round to complete. Admittedly, he was in a bigger group than this and he wasn't leading the race, especially just eke out those extra tenths of a lap and eventually go on to win the races. So this is important for Aksi to just keep tuck up into the slipstream, as we mentioned, out of the slipstream on the inside of Pratama. Not quite this time around.
14, here we go. Around here as we're about to clock off, another lap swing at left, several occasions so far.
Third in the championship standing. Pratama has got a race on his hands. If Pratama didn't know that already, I'm sure he did. Got a Japanese rider out front. The number ball does the number 7 of Pratama down there. Didn't.
Back in Japan, back in Motegi, but it's Aksi out.
In the slipstream, pulls out of the right kink at turn 9, into turn 10, up the insides. Difficult to see what quite went wrong there. Pratama obviously running a little bit. We'll get it across the line. We're starting the final lap here. Race 1, 14 headed on to the final lap. Pratama got the job done. The number 11 of Chavan, who unfortunately crashed out earlier on, is going to get hopefully out of the way of this battle, but Aksi has closed down then in the first sector. It's gone from half a second down to a couple of tenths of a second, so maybe a bit of slipstream coming into play through the opening section, the fast sweeping section, and Aksi, as you can see, is right on the coattails now.
Coming through the final sector, I don't know if he's going to do it, but he's definitely got more tense. He's got a better pace coming into the final corners.
He's going to give it a go, Chris. He's going to give it a go. Up the inside
and
goes
there
Aksi,
he goes.
But Pratama's going to fight back up the inside then. 15 and 16. It's turn 16, the contact.
Oh, touched
he's
again.
out of the
He's out of
seat,
the
Aksi. Oh, he came close as well. Pratama then is going on him on the run to the line, but it's only a short run to the line. 5th race of the season. Takehira crossing the line in 9th place, so a disappointing race for Takehira. Finishes a whopping 38 seconds behind Pratama, and Aksi just is proof embracing in park for me. Here it is then, Aksi on the inside, a little bit of the dirty line, and of course that makes the braking zone a little bit trickier. You can see he was just trying to get it stopped, struggling to get it stopped. I thought there was maybe contact, but there wasn't. Aksi just climbing all over his Honda machine. Pratama, of course, running it in a little bit wide, but that was to be expected. He was late on the brakes going down into turn 16 was Pratama, and then look at that. He loses the front end at turn 17, obviously pushing the front end hard, thinking Aksi might be right behind him, might be trying to make a move. Holds on to it though, does the number 7 machine. Aksi holds his left hand up, holds both hands up across the line, thinking, what more could I have done? What a race from the pair of them, the number 7 Pratama and the number 14 of Aksi, and 15 seconds in a rear. That's right, 15 seconds over 15 laps. I don't need me to do your maths for you. You don't want that anyway, because my maths is pretty shocking, but even I can work out that's a second a lap these guys had on everyone else, and that's great to see, isn't it? Aksi giving a round of applause. What a race. What a race.
Absolutely.
On here in Indonesia. Veda Pratama, win of applause, coming out onto the podium, did Pratama, and I'm sure back in the paddock he'll be having to sign some more signatures as well in front of his home fans. Plenty of them around in the paddock and in the grandstand today. Indonesian national anthem rings around the ATC podium here in Mandalika, of course, and back in Japan in both races. In 3rd place, we wanted to cut the gap from 15 seconds down, of course, in race 2, but a good job nonetheless.
Yeah.